Welcome to Rainbow Soul Podcast, where our soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Hi, welcome to Rainbow Soul. I'm Hollis, and I am one of your astrologers here at Soulstrology, and you can book a private reading with me in at my website, and the link is in the description below.
Hi there, I'm Bright Hawk. You can always learn more about me at brighthawkproductions.com. I'm an artist and author, musician, storyteller, among many other things. And always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and our buddy Lacrosse can't be with us this time either, but he will be with us next time, hopefully. And just know that we're just trying to make sure that you get these, and we had to do a lot of recording in a very short period of time. So we're just trying to make sure that we record these before we go on vacation. So I hope that these help you. I hope these weekly forecasts help you. I'd love to hear more about like what happened last week, how did it go, and I'd be interested to see what comes up for us. And as we're going forward, if you have any questions about your natal chart or where to look in your chart for things, just ask me, put it in the comments below. I'm happy to try to answer you. I'll do my best to get to the comments as much as possible. All right. So I actually think we're going to do a little meditation. In fact, I know we are. I'll just take this moment to take a deep breath, to get present in your body. Allow your feet on the floor. And imagine yourself outside under a beautiful night sky with the stars that seem to go on forever. Feeling the massiveness, the beauty, and the moon is there in the sky. And as you notice that moon, it sort of fades a little, lessening the impact of the moon on the entire sky. In astrology, we call that the void moon. And as you feel the moon's intensity pull back, you recognize the relationship between the moon and all of living things and all of Mother Earth, and how the two are so connected. How the moon moves the tides, how the moons affect humans, animals. We are reminded of our connection to this beautiful rock in the sky. as you stare up at the moon and it fades back, you recognize that in that moment, the moon is void. It's giving you a break. Just take that quiet moment. There's no drama. Just rest. Because the moon will be back to tell its story very soon. And to continue to tell us and take us on stories and rides, occasionally stopping to give us a rest. And as the moon pulls itself up into the sky, you are reminded of the deep connection we all have to the moon. And as we come back into ourselves, back into our present body, in the here and now, with our feet on the floor, you can wiggle your toes and your hands, and maybe smile as you open your eyes and come back into the here and now. Well done, Bright Hawk. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Well done. It's beautiful.
Likewise.
All right. I just thought we never did it on the void moon, so there it is.
There you have it.
Okay. So I'm going to open up our next week's prediction.
So we're going to be talking about August 26th to September 1st. And of course, our forecasts always go from Monday to Sunday. To tell you the truth, though, I was very tempted to go to September 2nd because September 2nd is kind of significant. But we'll get to this week first.
Well, I know that Mercury will start going retrograde soon after that.
No, Mercury will be direct this week.
Mercury goes direct.
Goes direct August 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Pluto, which has been very, 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 very slowly working its way backwards in Aquarius, is now stepping its foot back into Capricorn. So that September 2nd, that's
the big
everybody's
day.
Been waiting for that. And it hangs out all the way until the US election. And then it goes, but it
actually goes forward right before the election.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still in Capricorn.
Yeah, but it's still in Capricorn, but it goes forward.
Yeah.
So then hopefully we'll have, but yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So let's 1 week at a time here, because you know what? Let's celebrate our wins. And didn't we say that last time? Didn't we say that last time? Those trines that will go on the weekend, like the 24th, the 25th, and the 20th is going to carry over into the 26th, which just warms my heart because we'll be on a plane coming back to the United States and hopefully they'll let us back in. And so it's a joke. There's no reason why they wouldn't. But you know, day of AI, who knows? And so there's a grand trine and a kite going on that will carry on from the weekend. It will continue into Monday. And so that positive energy that came up over the weekend, you'll continue to feel that into the week. And there's way less squares, although there is still that square, that T square. But it's starting to get like, the Mars isn't involved so much now. Now it's more Mars is involved. I have a hard time even saying that's a T square, just because. Well, I guess it is, just because Jupiter's not involved in that though. So it's just Mars now. So as Mars starts to exit Gemini, it's in a square to Venus and in a square to Neptune. So, and of course, Neptune and Venus are opposite of each other. And that does create that T square. But I still feel like, so it might affect your personal life. It might be, especially for people that take a little, I don't want to make it sound like you're stupid or something, but some people take a little bit longer to get to things. So if certain messages didn't get delivered to you last week, they'll definitely make it to you now. And at this point, with Venus and Neptune, it's still more about that busting of your bubble or making you change your belief system. And Mars in Gemini, which is about quick action. It's usually very quick. Mars is very quick in Gemini. So, and it just tends to be about that. Could be about the internet. So you might just want to, make sure you have virus software and stuff before all this happens.
Feeling very positive about the Grand Trine. That always feels like, that'll be a blessing for everyone. Yay! We still have that minor trine happening that's been going on all month, and that's going to keep playing out.
Trines are easy blessings, things coming together easily.
Right. And Gemini, the moon is in Gemini. It's a waning crescent moon, and it's squaring the sun, and it's in a sextile to the north node and a trine to the south node. And that's about it. It's left Uranus. It's not quite to Jupiter. So, it's going to be part of that square to the sun where you have the same square that's happening with Uranus. But all in all, very positive trine that I think is going to have everyone feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be feeling pretty good. Even into, looks like a lot of the week, actually. So Tuesday, it continues, the Grand Trine continues to be there in Earth. Venus will take a while to move out of a trine to Uranus. She doesn't move as fast as Mars. And there's still some minor trines. I do notice that T square is starting to now include, looks like it's starting to maybe include the south node. So it starts to make me think about some things from the old that you might just need to be letting go, but it's not that intense. It's not that big of a deal. You just might realize that some of the stuff you've been dealing with recently might have some root in your past or in your history.
Yeah.
And the moon is up there in Gemini, huh?
Right. So the moon is now very much conjunct in between Jupiter and Mars. That there's just a few degrees between all of them. So the moon is going to amplify that Gemini energy. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And so it's going to answer to Mercury in Leo, which is currently retrograding.
But it is in a trine, in that minor trine there, huh?
Yeah, it's still part of that minor trine, which is very nice. And, square to Venus, square to Saturn, because of the same energies that we keep talking about. But overall, I think the Grand Trine is going to be the dominant conversation, which I'm hoping is a blessing for everyone.
Earth manifestation. That's good. Yeah. That's good. And of course, here we have more of, we do have a little bit of a square going on here with Mars and Neptune, and also the moon starting to approach a square to the north node. So there's a little bit of action going on there just because the moon is moving through there. So there might be some emotions, maybe, you think?
Well, with the moon square the nodes, I always think of, we know the nodes are, the south node is the past, the north node is the future. You could say one is your karma, one is your destiny or your dharma. You could say that when the moon is squaring the nodes, that either there's folks from your past or even your future presenting, and a square means that it's unavoidable. You have to deal with it. So the nodes are in Libra and Aries. And we've had a lot of attention on Venus, and Venus has basically been hanging out with the South Node. And we've had this major square going on with Venus and Mars and Jupiter. So hopefully it's a good conversation. Hopefully it's one that reveals, maybe someone introduces you to someone that's going to become very important to you.
Hopefully with Jupiter in the conversation there, that will help bring it to good, whatever it is, especially with Mercury in retrograde.
Right.
I feel like, good conversations about how to do things and stuff like that. There might be some squares. There might be some things you have to work through emotionally, but I think for the most part, it's still going to stay pretty positive.
Right. And now the moon has moved into Cancer. It's left Gemini. The void happens early in the morning. Hopefully you're asleep, 1 a.m. to 2, almost 3 a.m., Mountain Time. So when the moon is in Cancer, it's come home. Throw your shoes off, get comfortable, take a shower, take a bath, have a cup of tea, whatever it is you like to do when you get home. So the moon is home in Cancer and should be feeling pretty darn good. And it's
we'll be having that.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because we'll have just arrived home.
Don't you love that this grand trine lasts almost all week?
Yes, I do. It just finally feels like things are coming together, and what needs to be happening is really happening. There are a few squares, but squares are meant to be worked out. Squares are just challenges, and sometimes sometimes I feel like we work through challenges faster, especially if you have more experience or something. Like, people just sometimes work through a little square and then you don't even realize you've done it, especially if you're particularly resilient.
And most of the time, things wouldn't happen if you didn't have squares. Squares make things happen. They make us aware of the choices we have as a human on this life, on this planet, in this lifetime. You have choices you make every day, and that's part of what a square does. Is it I don't want to say forces, but it helps us appreciate the choices we have to make in this life, because some choices make a big difference.
I think the South Node and Venus there. Now, Venus did enter Libra today on Thursday. I really think that that's really going to turn it into relationships. It's really going to make the focus of relationships, but it is in opposition to independence and stuff. So there might be a feeling of okay, I have to be present for this relationship. No, I can't keep doing whatever it is. In Aries, okay? So that's Aries tends to be the independent leader and going forward and getting things done. So it might just require a little bit of slowdown on Thursday for your relationships. But I still feel like we're also letting go of old belief systems and moving past them. And as we move into Friday, that sort of theme will continue, might strengthen a little bit more. You might become more aware of it. And that's going to sort of highlight Mars. So, be nice to your partner. Try not to be mean to them. Sometimes we take people for granted, and we should just recognize that those people in our lives are there for a reason and they're priceless. And so I think that's the biggest thing. How about you, Bright Hawk?
Yeah, there's a void that I didn't capture between Cancer and Leo.
I see that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I did a lot of charts.
Happens.
Leo moon means that the moon is going to answer to the sun in Virgo. And the moon is in some good aspects. It's sextiling Venus and Uranus, which is very nice. And it's trining Neptune. So it's opposite Pluto, which is happens to be my natal moon is 0 Leo. So, having that Pluto opposition, I've been dealing with it all year.
Right.
And it's going to happen the rest of the year.
Her moon, my Saturn. So,
And so, I can't say as it's comfortable when it's opposite Pluto, but there's not a lot you can do about it.
Right. And, but that's for you. I think for most people, they probably won't really notice it that much.
Probably
the
not.
biggest thing that people will probably notice is when Venus moves into Libra, your focus will either,
Right.
you'll have to choose between independence or relationships, and that might be an important decision for some people. The grand trines will continue, so those things will come together easily regardless of what you choose. And it continues. Mercury goes direct technically on Wednesday the 28th. And then the 29th, it's technically forward, but it's still going pretty slow and it's in its shadow. So when it gets there for the weekend, it's still kind of tying up loose ends, making sure everything that you reviewed is well done and you've taken care of all those things. And with Mars and Jupiter, now Mars is in a square to Neptune, Jupiter's in a square to Saturn, which has been going on the whole time. And I just think that since Mars is coming into a stronger square with Neptune, you just want to be careful of any tempers or whatever, but we continue to have grand trine and a kite. So just pay attention that, is there anything in Gemini for you? Because Mars is transiting that area in the last couple of weeks we've been talking about. So you might just want to look at your chart and see if there's anything in Gemini, right? Just so I definitely, sometimes some traditional predictions say, they don't really count Mars transits, but because it moves so fast. But in at least that's what I read in a book. And I was like, that's strange. Most astrologers these days do talk about Mars. And I usually feel Mars when it's on certain points. And sometimes it won't even last the whole day. It will just be like when I wake up that day, and I'll be wondering what the hell's wrong with me. And then I'll be like, oh, Mars is on Mars right now. Blah.
Well, they call them the personal planets for a reason. I think that because the inner planets are the personal planets that move very quickly, you notice them even more. I think Mercury, Venus, Mars are all going to be more noticeable to a certain extent because they change so rapidly.
Right.
Of course,
And I think like with Mars and Pluto, though, they both seem to matter the degree. Like if you have something at 1 degree Gemini, it's probably not going to be that affected by the Mars at 27 degrees. But if you have something at 25, you might be feeling this. Okay? Because it's at 27 degrees this week. It's going to be moving out of there, though. The squares that are happening are okay. There's some oppositions. I noticed that the sun is starting to work its way into a better opposition with Saturn. That makes me feel like there's going to be something with the system or something about rebuilding your life, but that could just start coming up in this week, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the moon's in Leo there with
right. And
Mercury.
So September 2nd is a new moon, by the way. So hopefully you did your ritual and your projects are all going along and you're grateful to see them conclude. And as the new moon arrives, and then we get to make a ceremony and have a new moon ceremony for what do you want to get done this month?
Right.
So that happens on September 2nd. The moon will be void on Sunday evening, Mountain Time, 6:25 p.m. to 9:48 p.m. And of course, you want to look it up for your area.
Oh, and it'll be in a trine to Chiron, which could be really great because Mercury began this Mercury retrograde in a pretty much trined Chiron.
Oh, interesting.
And when it began, that's why we're now direct, and the two of them are conjunct. So I'm just thinking about that Mercury retrograde and the moon sort of emotionally tying things up of whatever happened for your Mercury retrograde this year.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's the week. There you go. Now you have it.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's a good week for you and that this helps you navigate it. And we, of course, also want to give you a quick reading. Hollis, what do the cards have to say?
Okay. We moved through that very fast. So I'm sorry. But it happens. It was a lot of blessings. So what you can know is that this week is a lot of blessings. A lot of great things are happening. Lots of blessings. Things will come easy for you. So if you have something going on in your world, this is going to be the week to do it. And things are going to go smoothly for you.
And let us know, how did it go for you?
Yeah. How did it go this week?
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So this of course is the past, and this is the Sun card. This is reminding you of all the good times you've been having. And hopefully you've had a lot of great times. This is to remind you that good times can happen. They can. And this is from the past, and this is about your connections and communities and great times that you've had, sort of fun in the sun. And what kind of fun you had in the past? And going forward, this is about the here and now. This is about our community. This is about how we're connected and supported. To remember how we are supported. And that's pretty much what this card is about. It's about helping us to remember the connections that we've made and to celebrate those connections in the here and now. And this is a very important card because as we go forward, that was a 6 of Wands, and this is the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is very much about passing thoughts and how they affect our emotions. So be aware of the thoughts that are over your mind and how they're affecting your emotions so that you can manage your emotions a little bit better. And this is a reminder of how when you think of something in particular, it brings those emotions up. And so this could be sort of a hint on how to manage any kind of relationship things that have come up that we sort of gave a heads up about. And especially in regards to your thoughts. Are your thoughts really, sometimes I think stuff that's totally like, why am I thinking of that? And we have very creative brains. And sometimes if I haven't activated my creative brain very much, I can sometimes spend way too much thinking about creative things. Okay. So this is the King of Cups, and it is a reminder of how your thought feeds your emotions. So remember, there have been plenty of good things that have happened to you, and it is possible that those good things could happen again. Plenty of good things have happened to you in your life. Remember to celebrate them, honor them, and bring them forward. Remember to celebrate them. And as you go forward, also remember to celebrate your support system and the people that have done everything they can to support you. We have to be grateful for those people going forward, especially in relationships and friendships, because our emotions are definitely affect relationships, and so do our thoughts, because underneath your emotions is some sort of thought. So pay attention to the thoughts that you're having and how those affect your emotions. Maybe do a little bit of inner work. This is the King of Cups, who is a little bit of the master of that. And so he's able to, because that's a sailboat there at the top, and he is able to sort of steer that boat by controlling his thoughts. And so you can control your emotions by paying more attention to your thoughts.
Cool.
So,
wow, good reading.
Yeah, and I know we blew through that, but
that's okay. It doesn't always have to take super long.
All right.
I think it's perfectly fine. It took a half hour this time.
Right.
Your time is precious, and we hope that this helps you manage your time even better, knowing what's going on in the sky. And thanks for listening. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. I really appreciate it. It really does make a lot of a difference.
It does.
And thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.